Good morning, everybody out there in YouTube land. Just make sure I'm not hitting anybody's car. Right. Oh, got a stutter then. Right. Excuse me, I'm just finishing off some breakfast. It's nothing exciting, it's just one of those Nutri-Bar things. Right, anyway, let's start again, shall we? Good morning, everybody out there in YouTube land. I hope you're all doing fine and dandy and you've had a good weekend. It's Sunday morning, so hope you're going to have a really, really lovely Sunday, filled with joy and happiness and all things good. So, this morning, I'm doing something that I've meant to do for years. And I've promised that I would do it, and I've never, for some reason, I don't know why, apathy, call it what you will, I've never got round to doing it. And so I made a concerted effort this week that I would do it. I would make sure that I did it. And that's what I'm going to go and do today. What are you going to do, Dan, I hear you say? Well, you're going to have to wait and see. But I will give you a little bit of a clue. Now, the word hero is bandied about quite often now. And it's normally used in the wrong context. Well, yeah, I would say normally used in the wrong context. When people, you know, specifically when people say, well, my hero is, or my hero, and you get film stars, and that's fine, that's all good and fine. But I'm not one for that. I'm not one for the celebrity. I'm one for having a hero who actually means something to me and has done a lot for me, even though he's been passed on since 1948. And that's where we're going now. We're going to go to Sussex, because that is where he is buried. So it's a 2-hour journey for me. But, well, I say pilgrimage really, because that's what it is for me. So this hero of mine, he's male. He passed away in 1948. I believe he was born in London in 1881. And he's somebody that has fascinated me ever since my childhood. And it's somebody that I would aspire to be like. Now, his achievements are amazing. And his achievements are within the paranormal field. So I'm guessing that maybe some of you, or maybe most of you, particularly if you're into the paranormal, will know that who I'm on about without me actually mentioning the gentleman's name. So, he was known as the father of paranormal research. And for me, he was the man that brought paranormal research right smack bang up to date for the 20th century. And it's because of him and because of a lot of his research that today we are able to almost emulate the things he done, or did I should say, and hopefully maybe get similar results. He's known for studying, well, he's known for a few things. The thing that I really liked about him is he's known for, he started off as a magician, and he worked with sleight of hand. And the thing that you'll find with a lot of people that research the paranormal, not me, a lot of them started out as magicians, and a lot of them started out as stage magicians, because these guys have got an insight into all the trickery and all the sneakiness that goes on within the field by a certain element. And so what we're talking about here is I'm talking about mediums, and this guy in particular was known for finding out who was fraud and divulging the information to the world. So in my opinion, he did the paranormal field a real good service. Now, unfortunately, he passed away, or when he passed away, there were all these different claims as to the validity of him as a ghost hunter. And there were all these claims, and they maligned the man. In my opinion, they completely maligned the man. But as I say, interesting to note that they only brought out this information slighting him after he passed away. Obviously, the man's not there to defend himself. And a lot of it, this information, was written by people that I think had a personal axe to grind with him. You know, what they accuse him of, I can't say wholeheartedly that he maybe didn't do the odd sneaky thing. But I don't, in my heart, I don't think they did. I think that the man had too much style for that, too much commitment, and he put too much time and effort into disclosing what was fraud and what wasn't, for him to then go on and be accused of doing it himself. He didn't. He's probably, well, in my opinion, he is the most famous of all ghost hunters or paranormal researchers. I can't tell you too much more about him, apart from, well, no, I don't think I can even tell you that, because that would give it away. But what we're going to do, let's go in search of my hero. We're going to go today, try and locate the man's grave, and just spend a bit of time there, because that's as close as I'm ever going to get to him, I think. So let's go in search of Dan's hero, the father of ghost hunting. See you when we get there, guys. Right, guys, I've arrived. We are here. Let's go and look for my hero, shall we? Just over that wall somewhere. I'll show you. Can't really see it, but you'll see in a minute. All shall be revealed very shortly. Speak to you in a second. Right, so we're just going in now. Let's have a look. Where would he be? Oh, this is going to be a job, this is. Let's try and find him, shall we? Have a look through here. I knew it was going to be I thought it'd just be like a normal cemetery, but this is absolutely massive. Let's have a look. Excuse me, people. I know it's a cross. It's a cross, but there's a lot of crosses in here. So look at the back of this one. No, that's not him. There's more over here. Let's have a look over here. Trying to not disturb any of the graves. Trying to walk around them with respect. I was trying to find my hero. Right, okay. So let's have a look. Oh, there's a lot of crosses in here, as you would expect. Needle and haystack comes to mind. Never mind, we'll push on. We'll see if we can find him. So that's 1938. Let's have a look here. Nothing on this one, or if there was, time has worn it away. No, it's not him. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do, guys. I'm going to turn off now. I'm going to have a look around here, and when I find him, if I find him, and I hope I do find him because I've come a long way for this, so I'll search for him. If I find him, then what I'll do is I'll start filming. Speak to you in a minute, guys. We're back, guys, and I have found him. I have found my hero. So laying here is none other, you may have guessed it, you may know who he is. You should know who he is if you're into psychical research and paranormal research. As I said earlier, this is the father of ghost hunting. This is my hero, Mr. Harry Price, who's laying here. It's getting closer. So you can get some. So there you go, Mr. Harry Price. So I've finally made it. All those years I've been wishing to come here, and I've finally made it, and I'm here. And I don't know, it's amazing. It's phenomenal. This is the man that has spurred me on through all the years in research. This is the man that sort of lit the fire, or certainly fanned the flames of the fire beneath me to search out and research the paranormal. This is the man who's helped so many and got so many people into the paranormal purely and simply by the books that he wrote and the case studies that he carried out. This is Mr. Harry Price, ghost hunter extraordinaire. Now the thing about Mr. Harry Price, stand up here. The thing about Harry here is he is well known for lots and lots of research that he carried out over the years. I said that he was the one who exposed the fake mediums, and he is also the one that's very well, his most famous case that I'm sure you've all heard of is one of the most haunted, well, it was classified as the most haunted house in England, and even the book that was written about it is titled The Most Haunted House in England, and that is Borley Rectory, and that's further up near where I live. And this is the man that did all the research and brought it to the fore. He hired the house for a year in the absence of tenants, purely and simply on the basis that it was haunted. And he carried out a solid year's worth of experiments in there. And he came to the conclusion that it was a bona fide haunted property. It was what we call a real deal. So guys, it's thanks to this man here, Mr. Harry Price, that research is as widespread as it is today, and also up to date as it is today, because this man here brought it, as I said earlier, this man brought paranormal research bang up to the 20th century, and in turn, a lot of the research that we do today, in fact all the research that we do today, is a lot of it is based on this man's findings and this man's experiments. He really is the pioneer, or was the pioneer of paranormal research. He's just a phenomenal personality and character. And as I was saying earlier, sadly there were some that tried to malign him, but they did it after his death when the man could not speak for himself and defend himself. And also those that did it were, well, it was totally unjustified, because I think that those that did it were jealous of him, because, you know, he'd spent years exposing the fakes. He'd spent years researching literally tons and tons of cases, and he concluded, particularly with the mediums, that, you know, they were all charlatans really, the ones that he was experimenting with. At least that's what I believe. I'm not sure whether he found one or two that was the real deal, I don't know that, but this is the man that put the credibility into the paranormal. This is the man that has got us exactly where we are today. And this is the man, Mr. Harry Price, who I will always be thankful to. And I'm sure a lot of people in my field, indeed in Harry's field, feel the same way. This man wasn't a charlatan. This man was the real deal. This man was the father of ghost hunting. This man was everything to paranormal research. And now here he lays, resting in this quiet, forgotten corner of this churchyard in this village for eternity. Mr. Harry Price, thank you, God bless you, and I wish you eternal rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Harry Price, for everything you've done, not only for myself, but for the paranormal field and for modern day research. Bless you and thank you. So guys, with that, I'm going to say goodbye to Harry. Well, I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer and look, just ponder, and yeah, think about him and his life. Take it easy, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye now. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Ghost hunter, paranormal researcher, psychical researcher, all round good egg, Mr. So, as I was saying, guys, the thing about Mr. Harry Price is that he was maligned by people he worked with and people that he trusted. When he hired or rented the property for a year at Borley, what he did was, obviously he couldn't spend all his time there, so he got students in to sit different shifts with him, and he made up a shift pattern, and they took it in turns. And it was only after he passed away, I mean, there was such a lot of evidence that he kind of gathered and correlated purely and simply from that one property, excuse that. And so what happened was that, I mean, there were things like there were apparitions, there was knocks and bangs, voices, footsteps, there was apports where things would go missing and then reappear. There was a whole ton of activity and evidence there that he actually registered and that he'd actually documented. And unfortunately, when he passed away, as I say, they maligned him. They said that, you know, some of it was stuff that he'd made up, and you know, he was doing it as a way of self-promotion, which I don't believe at all. I think, you know, the man was credulous. It was his passion, it was his love. He did it purely and simply because he wanted to further our knowledge and his own knowledge on the paranormal field or on paranormal research. But this seems to be the case quite often when somebody passes on, that everybody creeps out the woodwork and starts to condemn them. It's a bit of a witch hunt, and that's exactly what happened with him. Some people still believe that and they go along with that school of thought, but I'm happy to say and pleased to say that most don't. You know, most are like me, people that work in the paranormal field and the research field, ghost hunters like myself. They completely trust Harry Price, and his findings and his credibility is never ever in question with us. So, you know, and there are more of us than there are the naysayers. Unfortunately, they made a programme, I can't remember if it was ITV, I think it might have been, and I think it was just before Christmas last year, called Harry Price Ghost Hunter, which actually incidentally was the title of a book that he wrote himself. And in it was just a complete fabrication. It was a complete whitewash of who Harry was, and the storyline wasn't even true to the facts. It was just complete artistic license, and it's unfortunate that people that don't have any prior knowledge of him see these programs, get to read these articles, and never really find out the truth about the man himself. You know, so they don't get the chance to discover how incredible and how important he was to the paranormal field, the research in the paranormal field. As I said earlier, you know, not only did he bring it into the 20th century, but he pushed it right through into the 21st. And as I said earlier as well, you know, there's a lot of people, up to and including myself, that will be eternally thankful to Harry, because he was the one that ignited our interest, or certainly he was the one that fanned the flames, as I said earlier. So that's a great thing. I'm sure, and I hope that he'll be remembered as he should be, as, you know, the father of the paranormal, the father of ghost hunting, and not some charlatan. Because I mean, he spent all of his time in the early days doing experiments with mediums and charlatans, and then disclosing them, then, you know, putting them out to dry, as it were. Yeah, he was involved with so much, even, you know, the psychological research facilities. He had his own laboratory. There was, you know, the man was groundbreaking. He really was. As you can see, I can't really speak highly enough of him. And I just hope that that's what everybody else gets to see with Harry Price. You know, there's been so many books written about him, and sadly, they always include the detriment. They always include the negative aspect. It's all very well to give a full story and disclose this information, but not when there's not any real relevance to it or truth to it. You know, if it's hearsay, then don't say it, because you're not, you know, you're doing an injustice to the man. You're not giving a full picture of who he was and his achievements. But yeah, anyway, that was my day visiting Harry Price. It's something, as I say, I wanted to do for many years, and the opportunity arose today. And as I said, it's probably the closest I'm going to get to him. Well, maybe not. You never know. Maybe one day I'll meet him. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But I don't know. Maybe I'll see him in spirit someday. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He might visit. You never know. He might show up at one of the investigations that I'm doing one day. You never know. And give me a few tips and pointers on how to do things properly, and possibly clump me around the head if I do something wrong. So yeah, I mean, Harry Price had a very unique way of investigating. It was very methodical and very scientific and very to the point and to the fact. And I'll actually do a video at some point soon showing you the old tricks and the old experiments and that the old ghost hunters used to employ, up to and including Harry. I'll just show you some of this, which some of them could very well do with being employed today. As I say, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've got today is there's an automatic or a direct consequence of the things that the old ghost hunters did, especially with the equipment. It's just a new slant on old practices. But I'll show you the old practices someday, and you'll get to see the way that they did it, the way that the originals did it. So yeah, so I hope that was okay, guys. You have to excuse the blowing. That's the air conditioning. I've got to have it on. It's a real scorcher today. It's particularly hot because I'm sitting on the M25 at the moment, so I should have timed it a bit better. Mind you, can you time the M25 a bit better? Can you make it more accessible? I doubt that very much, to be honest. I've been on here at 3 in the morning, coming back from picking somebody up at the airport, and still hit a truckload of traffic. So yeah, I just think it's luck of the draw, really. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I hope you got a bit of information from it. Go and do a bit of research in Harry yourselves. As I say, you know, don't take too much notice of the negative, because it doesn't really have any thing to back it up, to be honest. It's just smoke and mirrors, probably, as Harry would say, possibly. But yeah, so do a bit of research into him yourself, and I will speak to you all later. Take it easy now, guys. Bye. Oh yes, once again, that important message: look out for each other, look after each other, be there for one another, take care of each other. Speak to you soon, guys.